Well, the form appeals to me. There is something primal about it. It feels as though one finds one's everything's conception, energy. And there you have the metamorphosis. There you have life, energy. You can also, so to speak, imagine it as a flower bud, a seed, a pod. It goes in that direction. It orientates itself around nature. And these three works have more or less the same basic form, which develop into small variations, because that is really how everything is, both for us humans and for all else within nature. We are actually, in most respects, alike, but with our own individual qualities. And in some of my later works, for example, number 18 is fairly recent, I have chosen to work with perhaps a mildly erotic form, so to speak. I feel almost like a gynecologist when I shape these. So they are, as one can see, like labia, like the female sexual organ. I'm not saying that is so, it was just a form that felt very good to shape, and one which I thought fitted in with this current theme that I'm working on. It is life, so to speak. It opens up energy, a container of energy. Either something comes out or something goes in. Therefore, all have a kind of little opening. It's not completely closed, otherwise it dies, so to say. And this is a very abstracted red, principally a red painting. The others are also the large paintings. This is the most red. But I have retained those black broken lines, and a couple of complementary colours pop up, the yellow and the blue. And because I teach at art school and work with colour theory, I have a few thoughts about the colour aspects. This is also something which is in the process of developing, is alive, transformation, renewal. Nothing stands still. There are no static forms, really, and it feels almost as though they are alive. They lie there with their small mouths, eyes, and observe, and maybe converse with one another, for all I know. Some perhaps associate to, what is it called, shells. I do not know if this is the case. Maybe it is shells, maybe it is tiny animals of another kind. Maybe it is small seed pods, this one too. I really do not know, but it is definitely life, and it is movement too. And here we have a starting point of Kelvin Sommer, which is about how, when he as an adult attempts to be reborn by means of visual work, with the problems of a cephalopod. And it's apparent when I talk about it, isn't it? This is what children do, although they do it much better. They do it purely, only as children can. I am an adult and have dragged a whole rucksack filled with the stuff and I am trying to free myself. It lies in this picture. It is its starting point and the new attitude to my subjective painting plans. What the devil is this? It's me that's going on now. It's almost a sign as well as I can say that the painting technique is about reducing that which I have built up. And I've done that with red pigment. The figures have become smaller and smaller, and they have suddenly begun to behave themselves properly. Otherwise, they have fallen head over heels and disappeared. And this is a process which in a way reminds me of my existential process in everyday life. One meets someone, one says thank you and good day, or else one says welcome or aha, it was funny that she went. This is partly a very generous form with a roundness in an upward direction, but at the same time it is also a closed form, since there is nothing which opens itself up completely. It is really, yes, it's double, and then there are these openings everywhere, and that is important. They must not become completely sealed, and the deal of the forms maybe give more of a dismissive impression, spikes out, so to speak. So it is among all living things in nature, we all have our own defense mechanisms in one way or another, so it need not be negative. Can't the right word, I think, that is quite? Yes, there are no strange forms. It is perhaps almost one. One finds this. This one perhaps progresses a step forward. It has begun to germinate. Yes, it has. Life has really begun. Small leaves sprout from quite a pure form, the repetition. It feels a little bit, it stands a little bit by itself, purely on the form level. But on an emotional level, it hangs together, for me at any rate. The same forms in one way, but still very much movement and energy within them. This is something really on its way to cracking up. Maybe flowers. It can also be something on its way to closing itself in, although I feel that it's something that's on its way forward. It's quite funny. I found the inspiration for just this three-part form whilst I was watching a really bad film that I don't even remember the name of. The film was about space. What's it called? Oh yes, sci-fi, of course. They were on some planet, some desert planet, on which they grew some kind of plant, a kind of drug that they ate. And in the desert there lived huge, huge sand snakes that sort of opened themselves up with their mouths. And these snakes became divided into three parts. So I thought, yes, I should try to make this into one of my objects. It fits in, and it is also a living creature. It was a snake, although it might as well have been a carnivorous plant. So I tried, and it turned out like this. It is really symbolic in the way that one can write one's own reality. But you are not allowed to tell anybody, otherwise you die a little bit. But spontaneity, which meets another intellectual activity, that is what lies in the meeting in these black and white ink drawings, and it applies to all four of them.